introduce our players. This is Ryan's story. Ryan is from Cambridgeshire now, but he spent a lot of his tennis life over in the United States, and he's an import from Los Angeles, and he's made a great start to training in the UK. He's working with Nick Brown and with the team at Gosling, and I've just selected him for the Under-18 European Championships and the Summer Cup team. And he's hitting with Max Stewart, who's in our Junior Davis Cup team. Max is a former national champion, 14 and under. He won the Nike Junior Masters, 14 and under. He will go off with Chris Wilkinson in a couple of weeks, like I say, for the Junior Davis Cup. Hopefully they'll get through the European qualifying. That's a competition that we've won in the past, in the recent past. So these boys will be your entertainment for this morning. When we got asked to do this, Nick and I, one of the things that was on my mind was how could we be a successful double act? I've never been in a double act before. Few double acts sort of sprung to mind. Thought about McNamara and McNamee. I don't have the curls anymore. Nick does have the backhand. I thought about Fleming and McEnroe, but if anyone had ever seen me return out of the ad side, then that wasn't a good one. I thought about Anton Deck as a possibility, but I came up with this. Now, I think it's uncanny how much Nick looks like Tintin, and I think I do look like Captain Haddock. And those of you will remember that the Belgian influence in British tennis used to be pretty significant. So it's good to see that it's still part of our day-to-day. Anyway, so technical, tactical player development through drills. Nick and I have been pretty fortunate over the last sort of year, slightly longer, to work with Bob Brett on a daily basis. And Bob's had a pretty significant influence over us on how we work. Remember, we are national coaches, so unlike yourselves that are doing the hard graft day in, day out, we support player development. We're not responsible for it like you are as coaches, so we have to find ways, tools, mechanisms that we can support you if you have players that are of a national standard, hopefully an international standard. And one of the things that we use, and is the sort of the backbone of what we do, are our national player camps. And I'm sure some of you will have had players that will have come to the national camps. They have been rejuvenated under Bob. Bob has had a very, very big influence on the camps. Nick is the head coach of the camps. And they take place over 5 days for players aged 10 to 17. We have 3 age categories, 12 and under, 12 to 14, and 15 to 17. So rather than in the past we would just have an age group, we will have the best players in a younger age group training with older players. That's a big part of the philosophy. We see 16 players at each camp, and the emphasis is on it being a very enjoyable experience for the players. They go see a movie in the middle of the week in the afternoon. They do new experiences like playing best of 5 sets for some of the older kids. They've never done that before. But it's also a tough experience. It's physically very, very demanding. And what we will take you through this morning are some of the drills that the players experience in the morning sessions. It tends to be pretty simple and pretty straightforward, drills in the morning and competitive points in the afternoon. And what Bob has really helped us to understand and develop in our coaching is that we can develop our players both technically and tactically through these drills. And what Nick will show you and walk you through is how we let these drills flow and how we let these drills allow the players to discover their development rather than continual input from the coaches. So, without further ado, we'll make a start. And I'll hand over to our head coach, Nick, who will take you through the first exercise.
Okay, so these drills are in sort of no particular order within the camp. We just sort of try to pick out some that I think are very relevant all the way through the ages, that the senior players will be doing as well, and even younger than the under 12s, I think you can start to introduce them. So the first drill is really about developing the forehand as a weapon, and we're seeing more and more now at under 14, certainly when you watch the best events in, say, Tarbes, but also now in under 12s, the best players in Europe really are looking to take control of the points, and they're using the forehands more and more. You know, if you stat the number of ground stroke winners, even in the women's game where the girls are hitting their probably more winners off the backhand side than the guys, there's still a big tendency towards forehand winners outweighing the backhand winners. So we're really trying to develop the forehand from an early age, which means looking for the forehand more, hunting the forehand down more from this sort of area of the court. So this drill, we're looking at hitting 2 quality forehands inside out, followed by a quality forehand inside in. So the emphasis on quality is so there's no point in getting round and hitting an inside out forehand and just rallying. If you're going to do that, you may as well hit a backhand from there. It's about getting round it and really trying to penetrate your opponent to open up the space to hit close to the line on the inside in. So the drill we're set up is I'm going to challenge the guys to see how many sets of those 3 shots they can make in a row. So Max is going to hit the forehands. Ryan's going to be in his backhand corner, hitting backhands. When Max can go inside in, Ryan's going to get that ball, play back to Max's backhand side, and we'll start again. So we'll see how many sets of 3 Max can get. I'll start counting to start with. So we're really looking at balls within a metre of the sideline as classifying as the quality shot. I'll start the counting, and then I'll let Ryan take over to judge the quality. Okay, boys, here we go. So that's not quite good enough. 1, 2. Okay, just about. 1 set. 1. Nope. 1. Okay.
Now, guys, I'm a representative of NUVAP, the National Union of Very Average Players, but I use this drill in my individual lessons. So, tweaks on it could be, for example,
Right, 1.
I've given an individual lesson when I was doing some work at West Hants with a mini tennis green player. There was absolutely no way I was running for the inside-in ball back. So I'm standing out of one corner and I'm trading cross-court with my player.
1.
And when they execute the ball down the line,
2.
I feed in the next ball.
Not good enough. Okay, right, just hold it there a sec. So, what we're seeing is quite a typical first effort from the players here. It's very, very one-paced. There's not much change of pace of the ball, opening the court up. Max is sort of trying to hit everything quite hard, quite low over the net. So, in this stage here, we're really trying to get the players to think about the tactical element to try and open up the court for the inside in. So, when you see players building from this side, you're generally trying to see the first ball. Might hit the cameraman here on this first one, but trying to get the first ball up a little bit. Try and get the player back off the court to then come in on the second ball to try and get a little bit more width and get them off the court to open up the inside in. So I'm going to ask Max now to try and think a little bit more about playing the game rather than just drilling it. This is a drill. This is just hitting the forehand. It's not really playing the game. So I'm now going to get him to think about using the height, using a bit more width, trying to step up the court and trying to create a little bit more opportunity for the space. Okay, Ryan, you count now. You say when it's a quality shot. Here we go. Get it out. Get it out. Good. Not bad. Up.
So the trick here is to allow this to run, is to be brave enough to allow it to run. And there's two ways structurally within a group session that you can do this. So you can set the number of reps. So as Nick said, in a camp, we might say 25 successful outcomes. So 2 cross 1 line. You may have it running across 3 courts.
Yep, good, good. 2 sets.
First team to do it inflicts a penalty on the other courts that don't do it, or you allow it to run until everybody does it. And then you move each court on individually.
Okay, so just while the boys keep going now, so a couple of things I'll be talking to Max, and I've worked a lot with Max over the past couple of months, so he's not going to mind me going into the technical too much. So I think I see Max as trying to force the ball a little bit too much at the moment. He's maybe a little bit nervous playing in front of you all, but he's quite stiff on the forehand. He's not really using the legs, not really getting up to the ball, taking the ball on the rise, using the pace from Ryan. He's just trying to sort of generate all his own pace. So just needs to try and relax a little bit, use the body, use the momentum. Timing's pretty good. And trying to play inside the baseline. There you go, that's better, that's the step on. And also while the boys are doing this, it's important to keep an eye on Ryan as well. So Ryan, I'd like you to start mixing it up a little bit more now as well. Use the slice, slow it down a little bit. And when Max does want to go inside in, don't cheat it. Hold position, then you can chase that ball down. So that wouldn't have been good enough, so they don't get a set there. So they're still on 2 sets. Okay, last 30 seconds or so on this. Up the court. Come on, take that one on the rise. Good. Okay, not good enough.
It's also very, very possible, and I've done this myself, to basket feed this. If you're in Ryan's position and you want to work your players inside out, inside in, and you have a big trolley of balls, you basket feed him. But you try and block your player this end. And the expression we use that Nick is saying to Ryan is to try and block Max by flighting the ball up, by knifing the slice, by mixing things up. He's trying to block Max from completing his sequences. So you can be basket feeding and blocking and giving a very varied ball to face. So it can be used both in individual lessons and in squad environment.
So what's important here is that we allow the drill to run, and I'd say with this, we'd probably set the boys a target of 25 sets. Okay, at this level, 25 sets is realistic. They can do it a lot better than that, and we'll keep them out there until they get those 25 sets. With the younger ones, probably more like 10, 12 sets. Max obviously needs to probably just take a moment now, take a bit of a breather. We'd maybe just come out and get Ryan to take a drink, try and do a little bit more specific work on him trying to get up in a bit more semicircular movement on the ball. So I'll just come in, feed a couple within the drill. Ryan will be having a drink. I just want you to try and move up the court, a bit more semicircle, take it on the rise, okay? Take it on. There you go, a bit more on the rise, Okay, a bit more space. Okay, so we can always go in and out and just try and work some sort of technical thing to make the drill slightly better and then back out. But we can run this for an hour, it's no problem. Okay, if you've got a time slot, you might say how many sets can you do in 10 minutes, and we can have a challenge all through the course. Right, Ryan, grab a quick breather. You're gonna run now.
Again, from a structural perspective, one of the things we're trying to move away from as an industry is individual lessons into more group activity. You know, and seeing a coach work 4 players on a court through drills, coming in, doing some individual work while one has a drink, going back into the group activity, going on to the next court. You can be working 4 players, 6 players, 1 coach. It's far more cost effective for the customer, but we have to sell it to the parents. That's the big thing always. Whenever we talk to coaches of performance players about less individual lessons, more group work, it's the customer that wants the individual work. So you have to work equally as hard as a coach, but they need to play, the players need to play, and the drills allow them to discover their development whilst you come in and come out with the individual input, which is what Nick did there. We've all done it. One player has a drink, you keep the other one out, you work on that teaching point, 20 seconds in, out, then they play.
Okay, so next drill. Call this one of our filler drills. So if one of the courts has maybe finished their sets, the coach on the court can just add a few in. And this is one of our favourites because it sort of gets the coach involved. Coach is only hitting slice backhand, so most of us can hit slice backhands. Even Martin, sort of, I get him out on court and he has a go at this one. I might be a little bit wooden to start with on the slice, but we'll see how we go. So, I
got chronic tendonitis doing this through the pressure of having to feed the ball.
So the goal for the boys here is they're only hitting backhands. They're only allowed to hit backhands. I'm going to try and play within the backhand corner. I will hit some wide, I will hit some this side. They've still got to do that, so they'll ignore where my ball bounces. And their goal is to hit 10 quality balls in a row back cross court to me. Okay, if they miss, they change over, the next one's in. If they hit a ball that isn't of quality but it's still in the court, they'll stay on but they'll go back to 0. Okay, and this is just really trying to develop the backhand because I think all through the ages now it's so important that players develop a solid backhand. So we've talked about developing the forehand as a strength. The solid backhand is so key. If there's a hole in that backhand side, you're going to be exposed at some point within the levels. Okay, so we'll have a go at this. Here we go. One, it's a good start. Okay, that's out. So we're going to be tight on the scoring. If it's just out, they go again. One. Not good enough. Stay in though. One, just. Two. So I'm going to try moving forward, pushing back, get into space. Three, good. That's a tough one. Four, excellent. Now he's got to get back. This is good for the legs as well. Good for the legs, good for space, and I'll give you that one. Five. That's too tough for you. Next one in.
So Nick referred to this as a filler drill, and I think that's a really important concept with regards to structuring your squad training. So you've got, say you've got 3 courts on the go, and 1 court has finished a drill you've set. Then you get on court with the 2 players, and you work them on this whilst the others finish the previous drill. Again, it looks good to the parents. You're getting involved as well as being really important for the development of the players.
4.
And as Nick said, everybody can feed this, even me.
Start again. 1. 2. Not quite good enough. 1. Okay. So, key teaching points in this drill. It's pretty tough. It's good for, get these boys working a little bit. If they're doing it properly, the legs will be starting to burn now. What are we looking for? Okay, so we're looking at really good contact to the ball. If they don't make clean contact, the ball's going to land here. So these shots here, anything there is going to be hit away. So they've got to try and keep the width. That's all about quality contact in here. A lot of players we see on this shot, they're tipping over, okay? They're not getting strong with the legs. They're not getting through the contact, staying on and recovering correctly. We see players running up to the short ball, turning too early, trying to look for nice smooth movement up to the ball and getting low in here. Good acceleration through the ball. And then a lot of spacing here. So I don't think we really practice moving around the backhand too much. You think about, body serves a lot. You've got to create space there. So this is a drill that just enables players to move this way sometimes on the backhand, even though, it's not necessarily realistic in the rally situation. It does happen and it helps them with spacing. Okay, so a couple of things. So Max especially, a little bit lower now when you come through the contact. Get the left arm through, don't break over too early. So you can get 10. Ryan. 1. Not good enough. Also with a slice, these boys have got to generate the pace. That's 1. 2, very good with the legs. You're forcing it. Come on, with the legs. 1. He's just a little bit quick with the arms there. 3. Can get through it a little bit more. That's tough. Okay, just about. 4.
Guys, another variation of this, of course, if you're working 3 players, you have one of your players feeding here. Because remember,
2.
Nick is trying to block them.
3.
Very good way to develop your player's slice.
4. 5. Here we go. Oh, back to 0, stay in. Okay, last go each. 1. Back to 0. Not good enough. Not good enough. Come on, through the ball with the left hand. Good. 1. 2. There we go. Not quite. Okay. Max, one more go. Finish the shot. 1. 2. Excellent. Okay, okay. So we can see there that it's tough. It's not easy to get 10. The feeding, okay. For different levels, you can tone it down a little bit, maybe not quite so easy. Trying to give it a random feel, so it's not always short, deep, short, then put one a little bit faster in the corner. If your backhand's got holes in, this is going to be tough. Okay, but players do improve at this very quickly when they repeat this drill.
And immediately you create an atmosphere,
get a breather,
an environment.
boys, quick drink.
I mean, this is what we have to try and educate the customers, the parents, that this is an environment. One-on-one, stuck out on court 16, is not an environment. It's tough. We know that's tough coaching. 3 of you on a court, 4 of you on a court, 8 of you on 2 courts, but still developing the players, still addressing the issues, still working hard as a coach, not stood at the back of the court with our arms folded. We create environment. And all of these exercises are tough. The kids come back from the camps pretty flaked out. They're demanding tough drills, tough days, but hopefully not just tough. They are developmental as well, and they address these exercises. They're addressing key technical and tactical areas. Wheeler, next one.
Okay, so next drill, probably my favourite drill, this one, because it's so relevant. And again, I spend time with Andy Murray at the Davis Cup, and he loves doing this stuff early part of the week. You can do it in different ways. You can do it more as an endurance drill. You can do it a little bit more shorter and sharper, interval training, minute on, minute off, even 30 seconds on, 30 seconds off. We do this more as an endurance drill. So the cross-court, classic cross-court down the lines, one end going every ball cross-court, one end hitting every ball down the line. So there's no better drill for me than learning how to hit on the move. We do a lot of drills where it's a bit static. We start with the cross-courts, and now we see how the players hit when they're moving, and also how they change direction regularly. And again, it's very important for them to relate it to the game of tennis. So we're looking for changes of pace, looking for them to make the right decisions within the game, even though it's closed in terms of their decision making. We're looking for them to play the game in terms of variation. Again, we're going to use margins now, where we're looking for them to hit within a metre of the sideline. That's the quality we're looking for on these shots. And I'll set a target. So they're going to count each other's shots. We'll go for, let's try and get 20 balls each close to the lines. Okay? Our feed. Max is going to go cross-court. Ryan will go down the line. The first ball off the feed doesn't count. It's too easy. Then after that, the boys will count each other's shots that land within a metre of the sideline. When they've both got to 20, the drill will be done. Okay? Here we go. Let's watch it first, and then we'll pick up any teaching points. So that one doesn't count. It's too easy. Now the rally starts. Ryan, you're going down the line. There we go. That's 1. And 1, yes. Okay, so they've got to find the pace. Just sort of let them find it to start with. See what tempo they try and do this at. See just what happens. Pay attention to the movement as well. So just have a look at the boys, how they're doing this. Okay, good. So you can see straight away the guy running down the line, after a tough rally like that, it's smart just to give him a little bit of a breather. One condition on this one is that the players chase every bounce, even if the ball is wide, they've got to chase it. There's going to be mistakes. They've got to learn to find that tempo. Okay, one thing that's really key here is the recovery. This is what this drill, in one respect is made for. When you're going cross court, if, like Max is doing now, you're cheating the movement, I'm giving you a hard time this morning, but he's cheating the movement, which is why he's making it so tough for Ryan. He's hitting his cross court, and he's actually running to here, and if you notice, he's split stepping here for a ball that's landing in that corner. Totally unrealistic, because the hole's there. So he's not actually practicing the right movement. So I want Max now to hit his cross court, recover to the correct position, which is going to be here, and then he'll work the acceleration onto the ball that comes down the line from Ryan to then counter punch more with the cross court there. Likewise with Ryan, Ryan's movement is more in the recovery. He'll go down the line, he's then going to be very quick in the recovery to try and get to here to receive the next ball coming cross court. Okay, so just pay attention to that with the movement, see if it makes a difference.
We've all done this one, we know this exercise well. I think a couple of points from me from a coaching perspective is I would drop a ball colour for my players with this one. I mean, we need to work more on our players on the run. I think we become quite sort of addicted to seeing our players hit the ball nicely.
That's a yes.
And we tend to coach too much static tennis. We need to coach more tennis on the move. Certainly an observation of Bob's when he came.
Yes.
Was he wanted to see the kids play on the move more. And for younger players, I would drop down a ball colour to allow them to be able to control the ball.
Hold position, good. You've got to go quicker on the recovery.
You could, of course, work this as a 3.
Step on.
One person on their own, rather than you, the coach, running side to side. You can have one of your players and you're both hitting down the line, for example, or you're both hitting cross court this end.
So one thing here, I'd say that at this stage, I'd probably bring the boys in and say the tempo's a fraction too hard, too fast. They're not really getting the rallies that we'd want. One other point to make here, and again, this is sort of the default mode when you first start doing this drill, is the movement becomes very, very lateral, just side to side. But what we're looking for is the correct movement. So when that ball's there to step on, the player is stepping on. Then they're recovering backwards. So they're working in more of sort of a V, U shape rather than just side to side. Okay, so looking for the opportunity. And also sometimes they've got to go back. Sometimes they've got to go back here, play a little bit more height, buy themselves a bit of time to get back into position. So this is the key thing to this drill. It's not just bang, 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 cross court down the lines. It's playing the game of tennis, using the slice, using the change of paces. So we're just right, just one more, see if we can get the tempo down just a fraction, stepping onto the ball. And you see here, the contact is key. Ryan's just coming off his forehand a little bit, which is why that ball isn't going close to the lines. Again, why it's so important to have the quality margins there. See, that's not good enough. He's just coming off the ball. He's not getting through it, getting better on the backhand. Okay, still not through the line enough. Through, come on, get there. Play with a little bit more height there, otherwise you're going to get burnt. Okay, so you can just see he's just racing the recovery a little bit on the forehand side. He's hitting and he wants to get away from it instead of finishing the shot and then coming back to the recovery. And this drill will highlight it. If you're doing that, you're not going to hit the ball consistently close to the line. It's going to take you a long time. And we'd normally go 50 balls each on this one for these boys. So you can see, that's pretty tough. What are we on here? You're counting. Last rally.
That's such an important point because what the players will do with cross-court versus down the line is they'll try and survive the drill.
Good.
What I like about this is if you don't land the ball close to the line, you don't progress. So surviving the drill doesn't get you to the finishing line.
You're back in.
You can't cheat the movement.
Good.
Another thing that Bob did when he came in is he made us, I remember him telling John Traherne to take his cones and sell them on eBay because the court is the target, he says. So we aim close to the lines. We don't aim to cones or to rubber lines anymore.
Okay, last rally. Keep it going. Good. Okay, so we're starting to find the tempo now. It looks a lot better quality. Still can stay on that forehand a little bit more. Okay, good. Got to breathe, boys. That's tough. Well done. Just hold in here.
Being comfortable in your player's discomfort is a really important thing, especially in performance coaching. We walk around now, once upon a time, really hoping that they could do the exercise and finish. Now we walk around quite enjoying the fact that they're struggling and finding it hard, because they'll find a way. Let them discover the solution sometimes, rather than panicking or getting involved too early. Let the drill run, let it flow, let them work out how to get that balancing act between movement, holding, contact point, recovery, because that, if you don't find that, you'll be out here for a long time. And sometimes the session might finish and there's one floodlit court left and you send 2 kids over till they're done. You know, that might be the way, and that might be one of the most powerful experiences they have in their development. They'll remember that when they're 25, and they'll say the time the coach sent them over to the far court to finish the drill, and it took them 2.5 hours.
I'm going to go for 100, but I'm going to ask for the quality.
Next one, Nick.
Okay, good. So we'll move on, and we can spend a lot of time on the cross court down the line. There's so many elements to that drill, really key. And you can see, even with these guys, they're 2 of our top juniors. It's not easy, but it improved from the start to where they finished up there, and that's what we get. All these players, like Martin said, they improve as the drill goes on. They might go through periods where they get a little bit despondent with a drill. Okay, that's all right. Just let them deal with it. Give them breaks when you need to. They do find a way to complete. Okay, so just sort of moving away from some of the actual drills we do. This is we start every session with volley, and volley. I don't want to preach to you all about volley, but it's one of those things that we've actually taken more seriously over the last few camps. It's evolved a lot because we see the improvement that the players can actually make to their volleys just by doing this. And we try and spend a fair bit of time on it, really building the quality up and trying to get them in the right grips. This will be one element where we actually do try and interfere on the grips. We see a lot of forehand grips on the volley, okay? And we're not going to touch grips on the forehand and backhand within a 1-week camp, but on the volley, it's imperative that every child, and I see good 10-year-old girls with the correct grip. So it's not necessarily a strength issue. It's just about drilling it and feeling comfortable. We also really now ensure that players are hitting single-handed backhand volleys. It's getting less common, the double-handed backhand volley. Fewer and fewer players are coming with a double-handed backhand, but those that do, we're really trying to get them in the correct grip and using the single-handed backhand volley and not sitting on one shot. A lot of them come in, they're sitting on the forehand. So trying to, sit fairly neutral, slightly on the backhand side and try and keep the quality there. So these boys, I'll set them a target because I want good quality here. They're going to try and get 100 volleys in a row, but I want them to try and aim within mid-drift and knee. Okay, so they're trying to keep the ball pretty low over the net. A good tempo, no closer in than that. They might drive forward, but then they've got to recover to here. Okay, let's see what they do. Okay, a little bit lower. Here we go.
And of course, the trick to this is not to try and sell you 100 volleys, it's to
up,
sell you 500 volleys
back.
a week, 5,000 volleys a month,
back up, Ryan.
or however number it takes to get them better. Because performance coaching and developing players is about quality repetition. You have to be a box ticker. You have to do it day in, day out, all the time. The only way volleys get better is through practice.
Good. Really important that it's an equal mix of forehand and backhand volleys here. Very easy to sit on one side. Every volley's got to be neutral, just like from the back of the court. Got to play it like the real game. If you get close, move back. Okay, Max, you can drive forward a little bit more, Ryan. You can come back a step. It's a little bit too easy from there. So even here, you can see, so Max has notoriously been not quite right on the grip. That's better, Max, that's good. There we go. Back up, back up. So this pace, I think 100 in a row at this pace for these boys is realistic. Okay, it's tough. We could slow it down, we could ask them to do 200, but we've really tried to go for the quality now. If players are particularly struggling on the backhand volley, we might say just backhand to backhand. Okay, so pace is maybe, it's a little bit too fast, I would say. Just because I'm asking them to hit low doesn't mean to say they've got to hit it too fast. Okay, so you can slow the tempo down. a little bit more out in front. There's a bit too much turning here with the arm, so we're looking a bit wider. I think you can both go a little bit wider here, out in front, and just driving and not too much turn. Everything's out here on this volley with a bit of recover. Okay, wider, here we go. Just open the hands and through. There we go, good. Find the pace, keep it low. There we go, good. Excellent. So you can imagine the sort of the 11-year-olds coming in and doing this every session for a week, and will sometimes spend 20, 25 minutes on this, paying a bit more attention to the backhand volley, how they're using the left hand on the backhand volley. So notoriously, if they're hitting double-handed volleys, they're not getting that little separation, using the left hand correctly. There we go, Max, that's better. Using the left hand, good, Ryan.
The reality is, if you gave no coaching, but you set this target to your players and enforced it every time you played with them, their volleys would improve massively.
Okay,
no
that's
coaching.
Good. Okay, that's enough. Again, improvement. And we do this in half court. You can have 8 on 2 courts. We'll have a competition, forfeits at the end. It makes it fun. It gives the guys a specific target. And the target's got to be tough. They've got to come in and do this. And they've got to know when they achieve it, they've actually achieved something pretty good. Okay, we've got time for one more?
Do you want one more drill? One more drill, yep.
Okay, so last one. So I'll just do one more filler drill. Quite like this one. They've warmed up the volleys. So we put this into a 4-ball sequence now. So the guys are going to see, it's a similar sort of concept to the backhand slice drill. If they miss, they go out. If I miss, they stay in, but they start again with the approach shot. And they're going to see if they're going to see how many sets of 4 in a row they can get. Approach, volley, volley, smash. The smash has got to be a forehand smash, okay? So I'll try and make it pretty tough. The approach can be forehand or backhand. And if they make the smash, they stay on and they carry on. Everything back to my backhand corner. They've got to hit it so I can make a pass. If they hit a winner, okay, they stay on, but they start with the approach. There's an element of control there as well. Okay, here we go. Out, next one. Ball can't bounce either, so they've got to drive forward. And you're really trying to stretch the guys on this one. That's too easy. Okay, you've missed. It's got to come back to me, because then you can stay in. And again, miss the approach, you're out. Backhands as well. Yep.
So good. Another exercise that you can single ball feed if you don't feel your game stands up.
Okay, and this is good to really try and get the guys pushing over their backhand corner for the smash. Okay, we see a lot of players that struggle to really, oh, that's terrible, that's terrible. One set, back up. Really struggle to turn quickly on the smash. So by trying to hit more and more over the backhand side, stretch it, good, get up, come on, you can get there. Okay, could have got there. Couple more, good. I'm hitting slice, but I probably should be driving it a little bit more as well. Just trying to keep it consistent. The backhand gets a little bit stiff early on. Okay, that's not, okay. One down the middle, not good enough. Good. Again, you can see how you can run this maybe with 3 or 4 players on the court. There you go, over the backhand. That's a, oh, he's just struggling a little bit there. You want one more? Here we go. Okay, not good enough. Play, yep, come on. Back up. So if I miss, they back up, they start again. Backhand, that's a backhand. You can't hit a forehand off that. Okay, Max, move the ball. Last one for you. Oh. Okay. Oh, careful. Okay, good. And you can put that into a bit of a game. You can sort of say, right, you've got 10 minutes. If you get 5 sets of 4, they give the coach a forfeit or something like that. So again, we sort of try and play with it, or have 4 courts lined up, players move between courts, you know, forfeit for the worst feeding on the coach or whatever. So we can make it a little bit fun on that one as well. Okay, that's good for me.
It's approach shots. I mean, you could see there, both boys hit their forehand approach shot off their back foot, don't step in. We see a lot of that, you know, transition play, inability to finish points. one thing that's really improved my coaching is sat in the chair as a captain. I'll take that one away because I'm the 18s captain. If he can't finish points, I'm sort of got one hand behind my back as a captain. You know, we can't, certain tactics you can't impart if your players can't finish points. And we don't practice enough with our transition game, our approach shots, landing the ball accurately. We don't do it enough.
I think one thing, sorry, I should have mentioned as a drill there, really important that you're stretching the players on the volleys there. Okay, so you've got the antidote to, you know, just the technical volleys in here. Now let's see how much ground they can cover. Can they cover the whole court? We can all volley in here once we've had enough practice, but now it's about really getting those volleys on the stretch and trying to control the ball, keep it low over the net. So that's really key to that drill.
And can they perceive the ball? Can they perceive approach shots when they come to the net? Do they split step at the right time? You know, sometimes, again, we carry the burden of that development ourselves rather than just setting exercises and then letting them discover it. That's how we probably, our generation, a lot of you are younger than me, a lot younger than me, but that's how we kind of learned. And it's funny that our generation, my generation, are better around the net than these youngsters. They do a lot more ground strokes than we did. We probably played on faster courts, but we also probably played a lot more unsupervised tennis and just kind of found our way through doubles, through club tennis or whatever it was, and allowing these drills to sort of conclude. You know, Nick will work 2 boys for 2.5 hours, and the amount of content from his mouth will be significantly less, and the amount of work they put in, and hopefully the amount of mental exertion they put in to try and complete the tasks will be very, very high.
Yep.
Boys, thank you very much.
Thanks,
we are
guys.
finished here.